In February 1959, 9 young Russian adventurers set off on an ambitious ski-trekking expedition in the Ural Mountains. Weekend getaway. They were experienced university students and engineers, led by Igor Dyatlov, a driven 23-year-old. Weekend getaway. Their goal was to conquer Torton, a 3,878-foot mountain, amidst the harsh conditions of the Siberian winter. Weekend getaway. Initially, there were 10 people, but Yuri Yudin had to turn back early due to illness, a decision that ultimately saved his life. Weekend getaway. They traveled by train, then truck, before starting their ski and hiking trek, fully equipped for the long journey. Weekend getaway approximately. Their journals and photos showed high spirits, full of confidence and cheer. Weekend getaway. Their ultimate destination was Kolat, or Mountain of the Dead in the local Mansi language, a place steeped in legends of 9 men who had perished mysteriously. Weekend getaway. On the evening of February 1, 1959, the Dyatlov group pitched their tent on the eastern slope of Kolat. Weekend getaway. Dyatlov decided to set up camp on the exposed mountainside, rather than the safer forest below, perhaps for practice or for an easier start the next morning. Weekend getaway. A severe snowstorm was rapidly developing, bringing strong winds and heavy snowfall. Weekend getaway. Their final journal entries suggested a normal atmosphere. They ate dinner, preparing for sleep. Weekend getaway. There were no signs of panic or impending danger in these last records. Weekend getaway. Days later, when the Dyatlov group failed to report their arrival as scheduled, a search and rescue team was deployed. Weekend getaway. On February 26, they found the Dyatlov group's tent in a chilling state. Weekend getaway. The tent was torn open from the inside, as if slashed by a sharp object or an immense force. Weekend getaway. All of the group's belongings, warm clothes, boots, food, cameras were found intact inside the tent. Weekend getaway. The only tracks leading away from the tent were a line of 9 footprints in the snow, heading towards a nearby forest. Weekend getaway. These footprints indicated they had run barefoot, or in socks only, in temperatures as low as -25 to -30 degrees Celsius. Weekend getaway. Why they abandoned everything and fled into the freezing night remains a haunting question. Weekend getaway. The search team followed the tracks and soon found the first 2 bodies, Georgy Krivonishenko and Yuri Doroshenko. Weekend getaway. They lay near the remains of a small campfire under a pine tree, about 1.5 kilometers from the tent. Both were dressed only in their underwear, having frozen to death. Weekend getaway. One of Doroshenko's hands was still clutching a broken tree branch, suggesting a desperate struggle. Weekend getaway. Why they had stripped down in the bitter cold and attempted a futile fire, when their warm gear was in the tent, remains a mystery. Weekend getaway. The next 3 bodies, Dyatlov, Kolmogorova, and Slobodin, were found later, having succumbed to hypothermia on their way back to the tent. Weekend getaway. Slobodin had a minor skull fracture, but it was not fatal. Weekend getaway. The final 4 bodies, Dubinina, Zolotaryov, Kolevatov, and Thibaut-Brignoles, were discovered in May, after the snow melted, buried deep in a ravine. Weekend getaway. These were the most horrifying discoveries, pushing the mystery to another level. Weekend getaway. Lyudmila Dubinina was missing her tongue, part of her lips, gums, and a piece of her cheek. Weekend getaway. Semyon Zolotaryov was mysteriously missing his eyeballs. Weekend getaway. Thibaut-Brignoles had a severe skull fracture, and Dubinina along with Zolotaryov had internal chest and rib injuries consistent with a high-impact car crash, yet with no external marks on their bodies. Weekend getaway. The clothing of some victims was also found to have high levels of radiation. Weekend getaway. The internal injuries without external signs and the disfigurements remain the most chilling aspects. Weekend getaway. The official Soviet investigation concluded that the hikers died due to an unknown compelling force. Weekend getaway tilde. No satisfactory explanation was ever provided, leaving the Dyatlov Pass incident an enduring enigma. Weekend getaway tilde. Countless theories have emerged, from avalanches and Mansi indigenous attacks, to secret Soviet military experiments. Weekend getaway tilde. The presence of radiation and mysterious fireballs seen in the sky that night by another group bolstered the military theory. Weekend getaway tilde. Some believe in theories involving a Yeti or other unknown supernatural forces. Weekend getaway. The infrasound theory suggests that winds created low-frequency sounds causing extreme panic, fear, and nausea, leading the group to flee uncontrollably. Weekend getaway tilde. Regardless of the cause, the tragic deaths of these 9 individuals remain unexplained. Weekend getaway tilde. The Mountain of the Dead still holds its horrifying secrets, and the Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of history's most chilling cold cases. Weekend getaway tilde.